Hello, and yeah, this is a video that, man, has been in production, I guess, for years. Yeah, in 2021, just a big backstory, I decided I was gonna watch every single episode of Pokemon. So in 2021, I watched from Kanto all the way to Journeys. Like the first episode of Journeys. Well, I didn't start the first episode. In 2021, everything out beside Journeys. Then in 2022 and 2023 is when I watched Journeys. So yeah, I have all of these pretty fresh in my mind. And yeah, the Ash and Pikachu journey right here. My life for the last 2 years have been a lot of the cartoon, the Pokemon cartoon, but yeah, and I'm not gonna do them each individual season. I just went on Tier Maker, searched for Pokemon, and picked one. So I'm not gonna do each individual season. I'm gonna do what I consider like the regions, which I consider is Indigo League, which is, Kanto, the Orange Islands. Oh wait, I forgot Johto, didn't I? Yeah, okay, there we go. Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, Unova, Kalos, Alola, and Galar. Like, I wouldn't consider Journeys Galar, but we have all of these. And then aim to be a Pokemon Master isn't here. But I'm gonna use this. Let's use this as a placeholder for Pokemon aim to be a Pokemon Master. So yeah, start off with Kanto. To me, Kanto is like an A tier. I think the problem with the Kanto series are like the important battles, like the gym battles and all that. There's really only 2 good gym battles against Blaine and against Lieutenant Surge are the only like good Pokemon battles. And then you could argue that, well, Ash did fight Koga, which he did, but I don't think that's a good battle. So yeah, so he basically earned 3 out of his 8 badges in Kanto. And yeah, like that part of Kanto is pretty bad. But the so-called filler and stuff like that, I love in Kanto. I love that stuff. The actual journey, the adventure, they do it really good in Kanto. So yeah, and that's why I would consider it A plus. Not A plus, but an A tier season. Let's see. It would be S if... And I also actually really like the Pokemon League in Kanto. I really liked Krabby Kingler's performance. That really makes the Indigo League really like memorable to me. And I like that Ash lost, but I don't like how he lost. I think he should have just had an actual battle with Richie and then lost, Let's see, Orange Islands. The Orange Islands I actually think is pretty good for what they... And I do think that Alola is actually heavily inspired by the Orange Islands. Okay, where was I? I was talking about the Orange Island. Yeah, it was fun. I kind of liked some of the trials, basically what they did for the so-called gym leaders of Orange Island. And yeah, the journeying through was fun. Yeah, that's pretty much what it is. And as a precursor to Johto, to like bridge the gap, I think it did pretty good. And the fact that Ash also won was great. His battle against Drake, I think, is like one of the best battles Ash ever did. And he used Tauros, and oh my god, whew, I'm like winded. Alright. We'll see. Next one is the Johto Journeys, and man, I'm thinking of D, but I do think the last season of the Johto Journeys is actually pretty good. When they changed the style, the animation, for it to look a bit more like advanced, like Hoenn. I think the storylines got better, and I really like the story with the not Tyranitar, Larvitar. There was a lot of good just arcs in the last season, but the first 2 seasons, oh man, like, yeah, sure, there are a few, and I mean a few funny fillers, good fillers. And I would say the gym battles overall are pretty good in Johto. I think what they did in Johto compared to Kanto is that the gym's battles got good, but everything else got worse. I'm gonna put it in C. No, let's put it in C. I think it's worse than Orange Islands, but it's not the worst. Especially, I mean, if it was just the first 2 seasons, easily D. But I think the last season of Johto really like helps it a lot. And then Hoenn, well, that's an S tier for me. I love May, and I think introducing contests is one of the smartest things they ever did for the show. Especially since now there basically isn't that much filler, because the episodes that normally would have become filler now becomes character development for May and Ash and the contest things. And I really like that there's different ways to basically battle without, battle, like contest battling. I find that really, really interesting. It doesn't, and it helps that May, she uses a beauty fly. She's like, I don't know, I just really like May. I think, yeah. And then also, the gym battles, I think, were also pretty good in this, in Hoenn. I would say the filler was better than in Johto, but not as good as in Kanto. Like the ones that weren't contests related. And when I say filler, like, I wouldn't call the contest things filler, because it makes the story go. But if you think about from Ash and Pikachu's journey, that's what I mean. When I say filler, to me, filler is not a bad word. I think for some people, filler is like horrific. But no, for me, there's good and there's bad filler. And I think Hoenn does good filler. And there aren't that many episodes that I'm like, oh man, that's terrible. I think what Hoenn did was what the last season of Johto, but better. And I also consider the Battle Frontier part of this. So, yeah, that's how it is. And then Diamond and Pearl. In my heart, I want to say that Hoenn is the best. But Diamond and Pearl is the best. Alright? The problem with Hoenn is that there aren't really that many good rivals for Ash. Like what was the Ash rival in Hoenn? I can't think of one. That, like, I would say, like, was a rival. Because I don't consider, like, Morrison, I think his name was, that you just see at the very end before the league. And also the way, when it comes to the League of Johto, I think the League in Johto, really good. The League in Hoenn, also really good. Diamond and Pearl, the League, amazing, except for against Tobias. But to me, the battle against Tobias doesn't really bring down Diamond and Pearl. It doesn't bring it down at all. Even though I hate that battle, I hate it. Diamond and Pearl is just so good overall. Like Dawn, her as a character, I think she's great. And she also isn't just a carbon copy of May. She's her own character and a really amazing one. I do think they learn a lot from the contest and stuff from May, and they redid it with Dawn, and I think they did it better. Even though in my heart, Hoenn is still the best. Gen 3 is my favorite, but I do think Diamond Pearl is actually better, especially because of Paul. I think Paul is such a good rival, the best rival Ash ever had. And yeah. Black and White. Oof. I would say it is probably it's on the level of Journey. Of Johto. Like season 2, like the N season, I don't know, it's D tier. Because I'm thinking like the only thing I really thought was okay to sometimes good was the N season of Black and White. Everything else was actually pretty bad, so no, it gets dropped down. Even though I kind of liked Iris. I know a lot of people didn't like Iris in Black and White, but I liked her. I thought she was good. And for example, May's brother, what is his name? I don't remember his name, Jesus. But he didn't bother me. Max did not bother me at all. I also think that Max had some good episodes as well. But Black and White, other than the N season, I thought it was just terrible. I thought the gym battles were bad. The thing that they did to Ash, where they like tried to reset Ash as well, because I think this was like a soft reset they were trying to do with the show, and it completely failed. I guess a positive I would have would be the early Team Rocket. I actually thought that Team Rocket in the beginning were pretty interesting, but then they got turned into just the normal Team Rocket. I was like, okay. Team Rocket across the show, I would say, are overall like a negative, especially in the earlier seasons where they had to insert Team Rocket at least every episode. I think around these parts right here, they decided, Team Rocket doesn't need to take part in every single episode. And it was a good thing for the show. Even though some of my favorite episodes are like the Team Rocket focused episode. I think Team Rocket, when the episode focuses on them, great. When it doesn't, when they're just there to fuck shit up, terrible. But yeah, the League, awful. Trip was just a bad version of Paul. They probably saw that, Paul, people loved him. He was great. Let's make him again, but worse. And it's like, no. So Trip, when you see him, you always think of Paul. And then you think, oh man, this is such a bad version of him. And he also even kind of looks like Paul. What were they thinking with Black and White? I dislike Selen, the green-haired guy that travels with Ash more than Iris. I actually like Iris, and I liked her. I actually liked her story arc over Black and White. So actually, in Black and White, the biggest positives for me were early Team Rocket, Iris, and the N season. Other than that, terrible. Okay, X and Y. Oof. It is better. I would say it's on the level of Orange Islands. I don't know if I would put it above Orange Islands, actually. You know what? I would not do that. The problem with X and Y is the fact that the only two Pokemon that matter in Ash's team in X and Y are Pikachu and Greninja. Everyone else, worthless, which is sad. And X and Y kinda destroyed a lot of that we're gonna see in the future, where Ash basically just uses two Pokemon in Journeys, Lucario and Pikachu, X and Y, Pikachu and Greninja. And, man, it suffered for it a lot, in which the other Pokemon didn't really get their time. It's kind of like, why do you even have more than two Pokemon, Ash? Yeah. His companions in X and Y, I don't like Serena. Serena, she looks good, but that's pretty much it. And also, I don't like the performance. Is that what they did? Like a worse contest. If they would have done contests, I might have enjoyed her episodes more. It became a point in X and Y for me was I was kind of like, oh god, I'm just gonna skip every single Serena episode that is, like performance based or whatever, because they're so shit. And the fact that Serena's only real character was she loves Ash. That was her character. And she cut her hair. Okay. Yeah, what a wasted character. And I think that's the thing about X and Y. It was like good ideas, but so much wasted potential. I would say that is the thing about X and Y. Wasted potential is what I would call it. I think it's the best looking of all of the shows, of all the regions. X and Y looks the best. It's animated the best, I think, but yeah. That's kind of like where the positives. You know what, actually, and one of my favorite companions is actually in X and Y. It's Clement's little sister, Bonnie. I actually really liked Bonnie, and I really liked the story with Bonnie and Zygarde, the little Zygarde cube thing she has with it. Is that called Zygarde cube? No, they call it Zygarde cells. There we go. Good. And one of my favorite episodes in the entire show is the Bonnie episode with the Tyrantrum. Tyrantrum, that fossil Pokemon. That is one of my favorite episodes. It's not my favorite episode, but it's up there of my favorite episodes in the entire show. And I was like, oh, god damn it, please. Bonnie should have been allowed some Pokemon. She should have had basically Dedenne was her Pokemon. But she should have been allowed to get it, to capture it at the end of the X and Y. He kind of like, you know what? I get to Danny. And then she meets Tyrantrum again. She catches it. Because the only reason why she didn't get Tyrantrum, even though they had such a good bond together, is because she's too young. Like, that thing I think is so stupid. Because we see even younger people in the show with Pokemon, but yeah. And then Zygarde. I think if she would have been allowed those three Pokemon, man, that would have been cool. But even that, actually, I really like her. And then Clement himself, I'm neutral on him. I don't think he's a positive or a negative to X and Y. He's just there. And the League. The League was good. I actually think Alon and Sawyer were two good rivals. It was nice seeing that Sawyer, like a different side of a rival, where Sawyer is basically where Ash was in the previous seasons, where he is, kind catching up to Ash. And then at the end, well, he didn't manage to actually defeat Ash, but he did a really good job in almost doing it. And he also had a cool team. And Mega Evolutions. I like Mega Evolution. I think it's my favorite gimmick. Sun and Moon. Yeah. Right there. It's better than Black and White. Worse than Johto. Sun and Moon. The art style. The art style is so bad. I would say the animation is pretty decent. Pretty good. But the art style is so bad. It takes me out of it. You know what? Probably right there. Yeah. Let's see. I think the league was pretty bad. Because if you think about the people that were fighting in the league, a bunch of newbies basically, it was like such a weird thing. And then that is the league Ash won. It was kind of like, alright, you won the baby league. It's kind of like what you felt. I felt like the Orange Islands was actually better than the Sun and Moon League. And it wasn't even a league, it was just defeating Drake. But I thought that was better, the Sun and Moon. So to me, like Orange Islands was like a better Sun and Moon. And I don't really like the school setting for Ash. Especially the jarring difference going from X and Y, where Ash looks older. It's like, they've made Ash, not only he looks older, but he acts older than back to Sun and Moon, where he's like, it feels like he's been de-aged. Such a jarring difference. Not only how it looks, but how he acts. And the story, the episodes, yeah, it was a very jarring thing. But I will say the Lily and Gladion stuff actually pretty good. Yeah, I think I really like those parts. I will say they were actually good. But the rest were like below average. And the Team Rocket stuff were actually good as well. I think the best Team Rocket was probably in Sun and Moon. I think the biggest victors of Sun and Moon were Team Rocket. Pokemon Journeys, well, it is better than Black and White. That's in D tier. The problems I had with X and Y about Ash only using 2 Pokemon is like increased in Journeys. And there's basically no adventure in Journeys because they just time travel across the regions. There is no journey. Somehow it's filled with bad filler, even though they can do anything in Journeys. They can meet anyone, they can do anything, and they did nothing. The final 8, the Masters 8 was terrible, other than Iris Cynthia Ash, Leon Ash. Everything else was terrible. I try to think of positives for Journey, but it's very hard. Like Go, I think Journey actually started pretty strong. I actually think the beginning of Journey was actually pretty good. And it made me feel, oh man, this could be pretty interesting. Like Ash gonna pass the torch to Go. I didn't like how easy it was for Go to capture Pokemon, but I wasn't that bothered by it. Because I was thinking, it's just the beginning. They're gonna do some interesting captures. Then when we saw the capture Go did against Flygon, I was like, man, that's really interesting. Are we gonna meet Ghost Pokemon? I really like the episode where Go actually tries to take care of his Pokemon to find out, wait, who's stealing all the food? What's happening? And we started understanding, his Pokemon that basically have clicks. Yeah, like, man, Journeys was kind of like really good ideas, but so much terrible stuff. And that people felt like, it was... it had a lot of like production issues. there was like 4 or 5 different like directors, and yeah, sure, Journeys had a lot of like problems behind the scenes, but that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they have problems behind the scenes. If the show is shit, then it's shit, even if they have problems behind the scenes. Yeah, sure, you can maybe explain that. Maybe a reason why it's a bit shit is because of that. Well, it doesn't make it not shit. You just still call out that it's trash. And that's what I'm doing. And I don't want to think about Journeys anymore, because I've bitched and complained about Journeys so much in previous videos. And then this Ultimate Journeys is a placeholder for Pokemon Aim to be a Pokemon Master, is what this is. And it is the worst. Let's redo this. Let's see. Let's put this black color. Let's call it trash. Alright, well, putting it as black was the smartest. Was it something like that? Yeah, trash. Man. Pokemon Aim to be a Pokemon Master. If you want to hear me bitching and complain about it, watch my reactions. Because the first episode was like, holy shit, this is what Journey should have been. Ash going on a journey and switching out his Pokemon. Man, this is so cool. I wonder where this will lead. It will lead nowhere. That's it. It will lead absolutely nowhere. Ash will not care about any of his Pokemon. And Aim to be a Pokemon Master showed that Ash is a terrible Pokemon trainer. Like, he doesn't care about any of his Pokemon other than Pikachu. And I guess Riolu. He doesn't care about any of them. And I think they shouldn't even have done it. Because I think Pokemon Aim to be a Pokemon Master just destroyed Ash even more and showed that he doesn't care about his Pokemon. We got no closures of anything. Like, it was just bad filler. It's like, what is going on? Why are you doing this? Like, the whole thing about the Latias and Latios, it was kind of like, oh shit, we have to do something to try and trick people that these 11 episodes actually matters, or that they're connected. What can we do? Oh, add Latias and Latios, and I don't know, like a Pokemon catcher or hunter. Yeah, sure, let's do that in 2 episodes. Terrible. And I think the Pokemon Aim to be a Pokemon Master is actually like scripts or like episodes that they were planning on maybe doing in Journeys. Like disregarded scripts that they repurposed for Aim to be a Pokemon Master and to change out the little things here and there. That's what I think. And that's what it feels like. So yeah, this is kind of like my tier list, with Diamond and Pearl being the best, and it goes from left to right, and then obviously top to bottom. And yeah, I mean, the only one that I would consider good, I guess we have 5 good regions, I would say, and 5 bad regions. Yeah. And I would say maybe Johto and X and Y aren't really good or bad. I would say they're like okay. Yeah. So like 4 good, 4 bad, and 2 okay. You know what? Not terrible. And even like Journeys, Black and White, they have good periods in good episodes. Even sometimes great episodes. But yeah, not enough. So yeah. Thank you guys for watching. And what do you think? Like, if you were to rate these things, how would you rate them? I'm actually curious. Like, just type like 1 Diamond and Pearl, 2 X and Y, or something like that. Because I'm actually curious. But yeah, goodbye.